My name is Sergio Mottola. I'm president and founder of Public Pressure. We have a very simple value proposition, which is moving the music industry to Web3. The plan asks for a number of stage action that we're going to need to take in the following years. The first one is understand how to achieve mass adoption, and we call it internally, which means creating a value proposition for Web3 economics, which is going to fit into a Web2 world, because that's the people that we're talking to. We're talking to normal consumer which want to listen music and consume music as they do in their regular life with the solution that they have today in the mobile phone. This mass adoption is going to allow us somehow to look at restructuring the royalty payments, the rights management, and if you want the underline and the core, which is supporting the fundamental of an industry, which is music. I think ownership is important in the long term. We are thinking that buying a membership and buying access in the short term makes a lot of sense. But at the end of the day, you are spending money, and if one day, I don't know, the service like Spotify collapses, 10 or 15 years of your relationship with artists, with music, is gonna just disappear in a blink of an eye. There's nothing that you can do. You cannot move it across another service, you can't do anything with it. So at that stage, either you want the digital life to be completely on-chain, maybe in a licensed NFT or in something like that you can move across another product. So basically you want to, I don't know, take away the dependency on the user interface that you're using to access your music. But maybe in those 15 years you will love to own certain limited edition, your favorite songs, your favorite playlist, because anyway, maybe they're going to disappear from that service. You never know what is going to happen to the rights. So within those two angles, I think ownership makes a lot of sense. I think that the greatest story about the project where we actually are people that knew each other for the last 15, 20 years in different industries doing completely different stuff, and then suddenly under COVID we find a common value proposition that we buy into within, I don't know, a couple of dinners and a couple of calls. So everything started from somehow me, which I was coming from the crypto industry. I've been in crypto since 2015, chatting to Giulia Maresca and Francesca Versace, which are the fashion founders of the team, and provoking on how do you see NFTs. Now, it was really 2021, so it was the beginning of NFT industry. And they said, but what is an NFT? Well, an NFT, it could be something like, I don't know, MTV music videos, something like that, where suddenly from just listening to music, you have a TV, and then you see the artist, and then you see the videos, and then you see where the artist is gonna fit in the real world, how he's gonna dress, what kind of stuff he's gonna interact with. And I think that NFTs are going pretty much in the same direction. You go videos, you have cover art, and that's where they started really thinking it through. And through this process, then we brought on board Alfredo, who created Public Pressure as a decentralized label. Somehow he has been a musician for all his life, and when streaming came into the picture, the problem was we lost the product format. So most of the emerging artists, independent artists, they found themselves struggling in, I don't know, a streaming mentality, which is just about the stream, the pay-per stream, the mass listening, and it was no more about the art, about the product. So NFTs for us became a way to go back in a sort of product industry rather than service industry, and that's how we got together and we started iterating. The easiest example is Diesel. Like we launched the first Diesel drop in March, just after SXW. It has been over a year of negotiation and creative processes with the brand. It's a very simple example on how in Web3 you can take different roles and create new opportunities. I think that Gavin was just about mentioning that one of the most powerful value proposition of blockchain is the new interaction opportunity which can be unlocked by leveraging the technology. In this case, you have a fashion brand that maybe want to talk to a very specific consumer base. Maybe that consumer base can be aggregated from a specific music genre, specific artist. So actually what I wanted to do is work with what we call an emerging breakthrough. So just go with the artist that is about to get famous and show that the brand want to support an emerging trend, and talk to everyone that is gonna somehow support artistically that emerging trend. And that's how the fashion brand came into the picture. Then you have the artistic side, which obviously want to follow the brand vision, the brand guidelines, the brand positioning, so how the artwork of the NFT is going to really fit the fashion brand. And what it comes out is a complete new offering for the consumer, where you have music, so you can listen to the unreleased track. Maybe it's going to be a collectible because the artist in 10 years is going to be as famous as Benny Benassi. But you also have the utility, the connection, the benefits, like store discount, and a lot of engagement with the brand that maybe otherwise you would not have. One of the actions that we try to prove, there is the 1,000 fan theory running since the beginning in crypto. So the idea is that if you are an art creator, so it applies to a musician, you maybe have a better life in terms of income if you have 1,000 fans, which are going to be able to, for example, spend $100 every year to support your artistic effort. And $100 is not that much, it's maybe 3, 4, 6 NFTs. And that will create a stable income of $100,000. I think that most of the artists don't have that, especially in the early age. You find actors or musicians which are working in restaurants or doing completely different jobs because they have to support a life, which is everyone has to pay bills, and actually music doesn't provide the income at the beginning to become a valuable and sustainable resource to survive. And that's what we try to prove. And every artist that dropped on the platform actually came back and said, yes, maybe I haven't sold $1 million, maybe I sold only $1,000, $2,000, $10,000 of music, but I did it in 24 hours. For doing that in Spotify, I would need a year and a half of continuous streaming up to a very high level to produce the income. And with NFTs, I've done it in a week, in a couple of days. I think it's a fantastic opportunity because we are all distributed teams working with distributed technology, decentralized technologies, but at the end of the day, we are human beings. And I don't know, I grew up in London, I was an insurance broker. The insurance market in London, it was a very physical market. I remember I used to go with paperwork, sitting in front of insurer and negotiate a deal. So I grew up and my DNA, it's people. So that's, I think, what is good. You have the people which are building the solution. You have the people which are creating the technology like Gavin. Everyone comes into a place and we are able to unlock a conversation, understand problematics, plan for the future and understand how to help each other. So definitely this one is the most important takeaway. From a project and public pressure perspective, I think that we can have an important role in supporting Polkadot and going into massive adoption. Right? The relationship with the brands, with the music, is such a good way to reach millions and millions of people, so I'm very positive. Most important partner we have is Bunsam NFT. We've been collaborating since day one on all the drop. We've done the pods drop, for example, and we sold, I think, in a couple of weeks over 1.5 million in NFTs. We are iterating a lot on the use of music in gaming, so that's the other side of the medal. No, you can just look at the music industry, the benefits with the fashion brand, but then if you look at the metaverse, today my perspective is equal to games, pretty much. The biggest metaverse, a gaming community. So we have a lot of music in the metaverse and a lot of music used into games to earn and incentivize the participation of the community. Then we also have a super relationship with Kilt, because when we launched the Diesel Drop, I think we've been the first project to integrate the asset DID. So the statement was, finally we can also certify the origin, the transparency, so we can bring that claim in the music industry and tell to every artist, we can make sure that that content belongs to you, to your smart contract, and no one is going to be able to counterfeit it and do other NFT collection in other marketplaces. From public pressure perspective, I think that the objectives are very clear. Within even less than 5 years, we would love to see at least 40 to 50% of the rights to be in our platform in some form of either purchasable NFT or either licensed NFTs. We mentioned that we are stepping into somehow a membership business model. I don't like to use the word streaming because otherwise it feels that we want to compete with Spotify, which is not really the objective. It's about understanding how a membership and subscription-based model can be improved in Web3. I'm one of those believers that Web3 is all about the incentivization and the economics and not really the way that you consume the product. The way that you consume is still through the phone, via an app, with headphones, a digital file. So nothing changes with what we got today. It's all about the economics. And I would love to see us in the position to start building, if you want, the long-term vision, which is chatting really building the architecture of the industry. So the rights management, the royalty, and seeing how all the system can be brought on chain, hopefully as a Polkadot project. The real goal is transparency. It's very difficult to figure out how rights payment happens. I mean, in Web2 is all centralized, paperwork, documents. That's the basic claim of Web3. If I bring all those transactions on chain, I can speed up the velocity under which all these payments are done. There is an argument that Spotify maybe takes 12, 18 months before it's going to pay for the result of the stream. So you can really push the boundaries of the velocity on how transactions are completing and concluding between the parties. But also, I think you can really get the industry to participate to the economic model. Today, there's no participation. I think you have the usual gatekeepers which decide what is the market rate, which decide how much they pay for a stream, which decide how's the economics of an industry, which basically all the gates of the rights, and somehow they don't give artistic freedom. So my guys today in the panel says something very, very simple. We're gonna see a lot of artists which are gonna own their rights. And historically, that's not what happened in the music industry. Historically, most of artists has been selling rights to labels, or selling rights maybe to different labels. That's the evolution, but still they needed to sell rights to survive and start growing and becoming popular. And if we create an economy where they don't need to sell the rights, but they actually put the rights into a system that can be transacted with, it's a better place to be. But I'm very much a people person, so I mean the answer would be, for me, Scytale is family. The relationship I have with Mark and Christophe is like open, like the partners. I have the certainty that they're gonna help us out, figure out how they can put at work their network and their understanding to support the challenges, because we're gonna have a lot of challenges. We're doing a very complex work. We are still very early stage project, so the risk of failure is still super high. And unless you have people around you which are gonna believe in what you're doing and understand your challenges, we wouldn't be here. So that's how I see Scytale. Hopefully they're going to be very successful, raise more funds, so we're going to be able to cover more rounds, maybe build a relationship with the venture capital industry and carry on for the years to come.